Hello. Here is a quick lesson on percentages. First of all, let's look at an example. In 2008, 53% of U.S. voters voted for Obama. So what does that number, 53%, what does that really mean? Let's look at the word percent, first of all. So the word, you could think of the word per, like out of. Think of the word cent as 100, like 100 cents in a dollar. So 53% literally means 53 out of 100. So for every 100 people who voted in the 2008 election for president, 53 of them voted for Obama. All right. It's often useful to convert percentages to decimals. So the next example, convert 53% to a decimal. Technically, you're taking the number and you divide by 100. But in practice, what that means is move the decimal point backwards two places. So 53%, you can think of it as 53.0. So you just take that decimal point and go bloop, bloop, two spaces to the left, and so the decimal point is here. So now it's 0.53 is the decimal for 53%. Now, you don't have to, but it's common practice to put a leading zero in front, so that way it's more clear that this is a decimal point and not just some smudge on your paper. All right, next example, convert 4.2% to a decimal. So same thing, start with 4.2. Technically, you're dividing by 100. In practice, you just take that decimal point and move it backwards two places, 1, 2. Now, anytime you have a blank spot, you have to put in a 0. And then the decimal point is here. So the answer is 0.042. And then again, just to emphasize that this is a decimal point and not just a smudge on your paper, right, 0.042. By the way, anytime your percentage is less than 10%, like 4%, 5%, 6%, something like that, then always your decimal will be 0.0 something. All right, you can also go the other way around. You can also convert decimals to percent. So next example, convert 0.3, convert 0.3 to a percent. So it's the exact same process but in reverse. Instead of moving the decimal point to the left, we now move the decimal point to the right. So let's start with the original number, 0.3, and you take the decimal point and go to the right two places. Again, throw in a 0 if you have a decimal point, or excuse me, if you have a blank spot. And there's the decimal point. So it's 30%. Now, if you ever get confused about whether to go left or right with the decimal point, here's something that might help you to remember. 50% is exactly a half. 50% out of 100 is one half of the individuals. And as a decimal, 50% is 0.5. And so if you just keep that as a reminder, you could call it a benchmark if you wanted to think about which way to go. So percent to decimal, move decimal point back two places to make it 100 times smaller, and then decimal to percent, move the decimal point forward two places, to the right two places to make it 100 times bigger. All right, last example is converting a fraction into a percent. So we have a serving of Special K with red berries is 31 grams. This serving contains 9 grams of sugar. What percentage of this serving is sugar? In statistics, we do this sort of calculation all the time. You're given a certain proportion and you want to know what is that percentage. So let's break this down. Basically, I'm asking the question, 9 grams of sugar out of 31 grams of sugar, or 31 grams of cereal, is what percent? Now, there's various formulas you can use for this, but in statistics, this is the most common procedure is you want something out of something is what percent. So you can use various formulas like amount equals percent times base and things like that. But probably the easiest way to do this is just think this. Percent equals the part divided by the whole. So the part of the cereal that's sugar is 9. That's the part. And sometimes that's referred to as the amount in other formulas. The whole amount of the serving, or sometimes referred to as the base in certain formulas, is the 31. That's the whole amount of cereal. And so just get out your calculator and just do 9 divided by 31 equals what? It's roughly a third. I'm guessing around 33% or so. But let's go ahead and get a calculator here. I've got a little calculator on the computer here. I'm sure you all are familiar with that handy little calculator. Okay, let's just do the simple one. We don't need the complicated one for this. All right, 9 divided by 31 equals 0.2903225806, blah, 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 blah. All right, you don't really need all those digits. Here it is. So just round off. So we've got 0.29, the calculator keeps disappearing. 0.290322, and round off to whatever you want. Usually 2 digits is good, or 3 digits. I'll just do 2 digits. Okay, so cut it off right there. Move decimal point 2 places over. 1, 2, so it's 29%. So the answer is Special K red berry cereal is 29% sugar.